Welcome to Stoic the Flow, where we explore the depths of human psychology and behavior. Today, I'm revealing a dark yet powerful psychological secret. Master this, and you'll have others drawn to you irresistibly, like moths to a flame. But let me warn you, this isn't for the faint-hearted. If you're ready to take charge of your relationships in life, you're exactly where you need to be now. Take a moment to reflect. Are you the one always chasing? Always reaching out, sending that text, anxiously checking your phone, hoping for a shred of attention from someone who barely acknowledges you? They ignore you, push you aside, and treat you like an afterthought. Yet here you are, still chasing, still yearning for their attention, waiting for that one moment where everything shifts. Here's the cold, hard truth. The more you chase, the more they pull away. The more effort you put in, the more distant they become. It's like trying to catch a butterfly. The closer you get, further it flies away. Now, imagine this. What if you could flip that dynamic? What if, instead of chasing them, they were the ones chasing you? I'm not talking about the usual no contact advice you've heard 1,000 times. That's basic, going silent and hoping they'll realize your worth isn't enough. Let me tell you, silence alone won't make them chase you. The truth is darker, deeper, and far more effective than anything you've ever heard. Stick with me because I'm about to reveal the real secret, the psychological game changer that flips the entire power dynamic. Stay with me until the end, and you'll walk away with a technique so powerful, you'll wonder why no one ever taught you this before. Now, close your eyes for a moment and imagine this. Picture them chasing you. Picture them feeling that same burning desire and urgency you once felt, desperately wondering where you are, craving your attention, replaying every interaction with you in their mind. How does it feel when the tables turn? When they're the ones regretting the distance they created? When they can't go a day without thinking of you, without wanting to know what you're doing? That's the power of this secret. That's where we're headed if you're ready to master the art of influence. Let's dive in. Every like on this video helps us connect with more people who are ready to reclaim their power and turn the tables. Let's break this down with a powerful example. Sarah has been chasing Max for weeks, maybe even months. She's always the one texting, calling, and seeking his attention, hoping he'll finally notice her. But Max, he's distant. He keeps her at arm's length, offering just enough to keep her engaged, but never enough to make her feel secure. Then, something changes. Sarah decides she's done playing this game. She stops reaching out. She disappears. Suddenly, Max feels her absence. It's undeniable. He starts to wonder where she went and why she's no longer around. He might even reach out, but here's the hard truth. When he does, he'll find the same Sarah he ignored countless times before. And nothing will change. He won't pursue her. He might even reject her again and move on. Here's what no one tells you. Going silent isn't a magic trick. Disappearing and expecting someone to instantly care doesn't work. In today's world, people are too aware for that. The real difference lies in transformation. It's not just about stepping away. It's about becoming someone they can't overlook. You need to evolve into a version of yourself that no longer plays by their rules. Someone who stands out and commands attention without even trying. That's how you shift the dynamic. I'm talking about a 7-step strategy designed to get inside their mind and change how they see you. These steps will make you mysterious, compelling, and impossible to ignore. Once you implement them, they won't be able to get you out of their head. That is, oh, are you ready? Because once you start, there's no turning back now. Let's take a moment to focus. Speak this affirmation aloud, because words have power. This is your declaration of self-worth and control. My silence makes me unforgettable. Don't just say it, believe it. Write it in the comments. Let it resonate within you, because your silence isn't just an absence. It's a force. It dominates their thoughts and pulls them closer. Sometimes the loudest impact is made in silence. When you embrace the power of silence, you become an enigma, a force they can't resist. Declare it to the universe. My silence drives them wild. Write it down, let it sink in, and get ready to harness this force. Remember, this isn't about quick fixes. These 7 transformative steps will permanently shift your reality, putting you in control. They'll turn the tables, making them chase you in ways you've never experienced before. Let's dive into the 7 steps that will change everything. Stay tuned. Once you know what's coming, there's no turning back. Step 1. The inscrutable response. You've gone silent, and sooner or later, they'll reach out. It might take time, but trust me, they will. That first message isn't a casual check-in, it's a probe. They're testing the waters, wondering where you've gone and whether you're still waiting for them. It might be as simple as, "Hey, how have you been?" Don't be fooled. This is them seeking answers. But here's the key. If they find the same version of you they left behind, the one who's eager and waiting, they'll pull away again. They'll think, nothing's changed. They're still revolving around me. But you're no longer that person. This is where the inscrutable response works its magic. When they reach out, they'll expect explanations, excuses, maybe even apologies. Instead, you give them something unexpected, a response that keeps them guessing. Your reply should be short, cool, and slightly distant. For example, if they text, "Where have you been?" or "What's up?" respond with something like, "Oh, I've just been busy with more important things." Here's why this hits differently. 1. Brevity. You're not writing a novel or over-explaining. 2. Shifted focus. By saying more important things, you subtly imply they're no longer a priority. This messes with their mind. They'll start wondering what these more important things are and why they're not included. You've taken away their sense of control, and now they're the ones chasing answers. This is just the first step. Stay tuned for the next one, where we'll dive deeper into mastering the art of being unforgettable. When they depended on your attention, you've now left them wondering, what could possibly be more important than me? Imagine their reaction. They were once the center of your universe, the person you always prioritized. But now, you've shifted your focus to bigger, better things. That realization hits them hard. They'll start questioning everything. What could you be doing that's more important than them? You might be thinking, will they even care about such a simple response? The answer is yes. People are naturally drawn to the unknown, to things they can't immediately understand. When you leave them with more questions and answers, their thoughts spiral. They'll wonder why you're suddenly so distant and what's occupying your attention. That air of mystery is captivating. It's like reading a novel only to find the final chapter missing. That sense of incompletion will gnaw at them, making them crave closure. The inscrutable response is about keeping the door slightly ajar while maintaining control. Don't give them full access to your world. The space you create will keep them thinking, questioning, and wondering about you. Some may call this game playing, but it's not about manipulation. It's about taking back your power. You're sending a clear message. Your life no longer revolves around them. You've grown into someone more confident, someone they can't easily claim. Your silence becomes a tool, a force so compelling that it speaks louder than words ever could. Now, you might ask, won't they just get frustrated and leave? Perhaps. But let me ask you this. Are you trying to keep them around at any cost? Or are you looking to flip the narrative and make them view you in a completely different light? If they truly care and genuinely want to understand what's going on, your response will draw them in even further. Curiosity is a powerful force. When people lack answers, they become consumed with finding them. Picture them rereading your message, busy with more important things, over and over in their head. They'll wonder, have you met someone new? Are you working on something groundbreaking? Or are you just living a vibrant, fulfilling life without them? The more they speculate, the stronger their desire to reconnect becomes. The more questions they have, the more power you hold to step. The inscrutable response is like planting a seed in their mind. It allows them to feel the distance and wrestle with your newfound priorities. It's subtle yet incredibly effective. The less you reveal, the more obsessed they become with what they don't know. They'll keep checking their phone, hoping for a follow-up, desperately waiting for you to slip up and give them more insight. But you won't. And if they press for more details, if they ask something like, what's more important than me? This is where you amplify the intrigue. Don't explain. Don't get specific. Just respond with something simple and cryptic like, "Oh, just some exciting changes I've been working on." More than enough to drive them wild. They'll be piecing together every little clue they can find about you, trying to understand this new, elusive version of yourself. Let me tell you, this step is just the beginning. As you become better at withholding just enough to keep them hooked, you'll notice how quickly their perception of you begins to change. The mystery you create will become addictive, and soon they won't be able to look away. The goal here is simple. It's not about shutting them out completely, but about creating a space so enticing and intriguing that they can't help but chase after you. The more they wonder, the more they'll crave answers. And the more they crave, the more power you hold. This step, the inscrutable response, is like planting a seed in their mind. You're letting them feel the distance and forcing them to confront your new priorities. It's subtle, but its power is undeniable. The less you reveal, the more they'll obsess over what they don't know. They'll keep checking their phone, hoping for a follow-up, desperate for you to slip up and give them more. But you won't. And if they ask for more details, if they text something like, "What's more important than me?" this is where you turn up the heat. Don't explain. Don't dive into specifics. Just respond with something like, "Oh, just some exciting changes I've been working on." It's vague. It's mysterious, and it will drive them wild. The impact will be undeniable. They'll start to piece together every clue, trying to figure out this new version of you. This is where the real magic happens. The more you withhold, the more obsessed they'll become with unraveling the mystery. They'll be hooked. Now let's lock this down with an affirmation that reinforces this new mindset. Say it with me. I am the mystery they crave. Write it down. Feel the power of those words, because this is just the beginning. Stick with me, because we've got even darker secrets to unlock. All right, folks, brace yourselves. We're diving into the psychological mirror. This is about reflecting back the energy they gave you, but with a twist. You've gone silent. You've created distance. But trust me, the impact you're making isn't passive. It's powerful. They're going to feel every bit of the distance they once made you feel, and it's going to get under their skin in ways they can't shake off. You're not just gone. You're becoming a mirror that forces them to see everything they missed out on. Think back to those moments when they made you feel insignificant, when they left you hanging or doubted your worth. Every time they pulled away or made you feel small, you're now reflecting that back to them without saying a word. The psychological mirror isn't about making noise or responding. It's about showing them, through every subtle action, that the world you're building doesn't include them anymore. You're not just absent, you're evolving, and they're no longer part of your story. Imagine this. They start hearing through mutual friends that you're thriving, living your best life, doing the things they thought you never could. When they find out that you're confidently moving forward, unbothered, it'll hit them hard. They'll be trying to piece together every little detail about you, trying to decipher this new, elusive version of yourself. But here's the kicker. This is just a start. As you get better at giving less, withholding just enough to keep them intrigued, you'll watch how quickly they start to view you differently. The mystery you create will become irresistible, and soon they won't be able to take their eyes off you. The aim is clear. It's not about shutting them out completely, but creating a space so captivating, so mysterious, that they can't help but chase after you. The more they wonder, the more they'll crave answers, and the more they'll try to find their way back to you. Let's lock in this mindset with an affirmation that reinforces it. Say it with me. I am the mystery they crave. Write it down. Feel the power in these words, because this is just the beginning. Stay with me. There are deeper secrets to uncover now. Let's get into the psychological mirror. This is about reflecting the energy they once gave you, but with a twist. You've gone silent. You've created distance, and trust me, the impact you're making isn't passive. It's powerful. They'll feel every ounce of the distance they once made you feel, and it's going to get under their skin in ways they never expected. You're not just absent. You're evolving, and they're no longer part of your story. The psychological mirror isn't about making noise or responding. It's about showing them, through every subtle move you make, that the world you're creating no longer includes them. Now imagine this. They start hearing through mutual friends that you're thriving, living your best life, doing the things they thought you never could. When they realize you're confidently moving forward, unbothered, it'll hit them hard. They'll start asking themselves, what changed? They're not just wondering about you. They're staring at the mirror of their own actions. The indifference, the dismissiveness they once showed, is now magnified by your transformation. Now they're the ones feeling the void, haunted by the fact that they're the ones who let you go. Some of you might ask, isn't this just ignoring them? No, it's not. Ignoring is easy. Reflecting their energy back to them, though, is an art. You're not just silent. You're showing them, loud and clear, that you're no longer the person they thought they could control. You become a mirror that doesn't just show them who they are, it shows them what they could have had and lost. Here's how it works. People often take stability for granted until it starts to crumble. Once that foundation shifts beneath them, they're forced to face the reality of what they had and what they lost. That's exactly what the psychological mirror does. It forces them to face the truth. You've moved on. You no longer care for their approval or validation. You're thriving, and they weren't ready for the version of you that's emerged. When they realize that, it will shake them to their core. And the best part? The psychological mirror works because it's quiet. You're not forcing them to notice you. You're simply living your life. And every time they hear about you, see a glimpse of you, or catch wind of your success, it'll feel like a punch in the gut. They'll see you at events, surrounded by people, and never once will you be glancing over your shoulder to see if they're watching. They'll see you becoming stronger, more confident, and radiant in ways they never imagined. You're no longer the person they can predict. You're the person they'll never be able to forget. It's a realization that will haunt them every time they hear your name or see a post about you. They'll feel the sting. You're not the same anymore, and it's not because you're playing hard to get. It's because your life no longer depends on their attention. Your silence isn't a void. It's a mirror that shows them what they've lost. Some of you might think, isn't this cold? Not at all. This isn't about being cruel. It's about reclaiming your power and setting a clear boundary. You're not shutting them out completely. You're simply saying, I won't entertain the same half-hearted energy you gave me. You're not desperate for their attention. You've created a boundary that draws them in. The more they sense your absence, the more they'll be drawn to the mystery you've become. The power of the psychological mirror is in the fact that it doesn't shout. It simply reflects. You don't need to say a word to make them feel the distance between you. You're showing them, through your growth, that you no longer need them in your life. And that reflection will sting far more than any confrontation ever could. Now, here's the twist. When they start to feel the weight of this distance, they'll be drawn to reconnect. They'll want to see if they can worm their way back into your life. But here's the secret. Don't break the silence. Let them sit with the mirror you've created. You're not unreachable because you're playing games. You're unreachable because you've leveled up. Your world no longer has space for their half-hearted attempts to win you back. The psychological mirror works because it makes them feel the emptiness each time they think about you, each time they hear about your life moving forward. They'll have to face the reality that they were the ones who chose to walk away. That reflection will haunt them, and they won't be able to ignore it. Let's anchor this in power. Repeat after me. I am the reflection they can never escape. Write it down, feel it deep within, and understand that this is only the beginning. The deeper, darker strategies are coming, and trust me, you'll want to be ready for them. Step 3. The mysterious social media presence. It's time to transform your social media into something unstoppable. We're talking about crafting a presence so enigmatic, so magnetic, that they won't be able to resist being drawn to you. Think of yourself as a shadow, just visible enough to ignite curiosity, but never fully exposing yourself. The goal is to reveal only enough to leave them craving more, but never enough to satisfy their thirst for answers when you post. It's not just about sharing your life. It's about creating an experience. Forget about endless selfies or oversharing. Never give them all the details. You're designing a deliberate, calculated presence that leaves them wondering. Don't overexpose yourself. Instead, treat your social media like a high-stakes puzzle with missing pieces. Maybe you share a breathtaking sunset, a picture with friends at an exclusive location, or a hint of something exciting on the horizon. But the key? You never give them the whole story. They see a life that doesn't include them, but they're left wondering how the story ends. It's like you're writing the opening chapters of a novel, always leaving them at the edge of a cliffhanger. They'll keep coming back, trying to solve the mystery you've created. So, why does this work? Because people can't stand uncertainty. When someone can't see the full picture, they start to fill in the blanks. They'll see that breathtaking view and immediately wonder, who are they with? What's going on in their life that I don't know about? That little gap, that unanswered question, will gnaw at them. It turns you into a riddle they're desperate to solve. And believe me, human nature can't resist a mystery. Think of it like a magician performing a trick. You show them a glimpse of something mesmerizing, but they never get to see the entire illusion. You leave them with questions, with curiosity. And trust me, that curiosity is a force stronger than anything else. Every time they scroll through your profile, they'll be reminded, they'll see the version of you they no longer have access to. They'll see you thriving, confidently living a life they no longer get to be part of, and it's that absence that haunts them. Now, let's talk about frequency. This isn't about posting every hour or sharing every meal. It's about quality over quantity. A single, perfectly placed photo, a story with zero context, or a mysterious post with no explanation can have more power than 100 updates. When you become a rare and elusive presence, each post packs a punch. They'll notice every little detail, linger over every image, and with each glance, they'll feel a craving for something more. Some of you might be wondering, isn't this too subtle? Will they even notice? Oh, they'll notice. People who were once part of your life, whether they admit it or not, are always watching. They might not interact, they might not acknowledge it, but they're paying attention. They see you thriving without them, living a life they no longer have access to, and that's when the truth hits hardest. You're moving on, and you're doing perfectly fine without them. Imagine this. It's late at night, and they're scrolling through your profile, hoping for a glimpse into your life. They're searching for clues. What are you doing? Who are you with? What's happening that they're not part of? But all they find are pieces of a puzzle they can't solve. Every glimpse of your life leaves them with more questions, deepening the mystery. It's like trying to complete a jigsaw puzzle with missing pieces, and they just can't figure it out. Here's where it gets interesting. They might reach out, send a casual message to check in or ask, what's up? But don't give in. You're not obligated to fill in the gaps. You've already created the mystery, and now your life is off limits to them. The distance makes them uneasy, and it forces them to question their place in your world. That's exactly what you want. Keep this in mind. The less they know, the more they'll want to know. When you become elusive, you become irresistible. You're no longer someone they can predict or understand fully, and that uncertainty draws them in. Every time they come back, they'll be haunted by the question, who are you becoming? They'll return again and again, searching for answers you don't need to give. Now, let's lock in that energy with an affirmation. I am the mystery they can't resist. Write it down. Feel the power in those words, and know that your social media presence is yours to control. Intentionally, carefully, and powerfully, this is yet another layer of control you're constructing. And believe me, this is only the beginning. We're only scratching the surface here. If you haven't yet clicked that like button, I'm not sure what more I can say. This video is absolutely worth it. Stay tuned, because the best is still to come. Now, let's delve into step 4, the dark achievement. This is the kind of success that lingers in their mind like an inescapable shadow. It's the phase where your ambitions transform into such undeniable triumphs that they'll be consumed by regret. No matter the distance between you, this isn't about boasting or flaunting your achievements. No, It's about subtly evolving into the person they'll forever regret allowing to slip away. Envision this. You immerse yourself fully in your most ambitious goals, channeling your energy into the dreams, projects, and aspirations that you once placed on the back burner. Whether it's your career, your health, your finances, or any other pursuit that ignites your passion, this is your moment to rise, but not for their sake. You're doing this for you. Every milestone you achieve serves as a testament to your growth, transformation, and the heights you're reaching, heights they never dared to imagine. And the most satisfying part, they're not part of the journey. Success doesn't need to be announced loudly. Allow it to unfold on its own. Let whispers of your achievements spread quietly through the grapevine. Picture them hearing about your progress through mutual friends or stumbling upon a carefully crafted post that reflects your growth. As they realize that they've been left behind by this new, powerful version of you, they'll feel the cold sting of regret. And remember, there's truth in the saying, success is the ultimate form of revenge. Trust me, while you're out there rising and leveling up, they'll see exactly what they've lost. Now, you might be wondering, do they truly care about my success? The answer is yes, they care. People are naturally drawn to growth, especially when it's someone they thought they knew. When they see you thriving without them, it forces them to confront the reality of what they missed out on. That reflection is filled with the weight of missed chances and deep regret. Every milestone you reach, every victory you secure, serves as a stark reminder that you've outgrown them, and they'll have to live with that awareness. But don't confine your idea of success to just career or wealth. Your growth is a reflection of something far deeper and more meaningful. Once upon a time, there was a person who had a burning desire for something greater, something beyond what they had ever known. They wanted to step into their full potential, and little by little, they began crafting their own dark achievement. It wasn't about chasing fame or validation. It was about becoming something extraordinary, someone who could not be overlooked. Their journey wasn't loud, but it was powerful. They focused on their health, their personal growth, and even embarked on new adventures. They took control of their fitness, traveled to places most people only dreamed about, and learned skills they never thought they'd master. Each achievement was like a quiet whisper in the wind, a reminder that they were living a life that others could no longer reach. Their life began to feel like a masterpiece, constantly evolving, every new layer adding depth and complexity. With every step forward, they became unrecognizable to those who had once known them. They were creating a version of themselves that others couldn't be a part of. The people who once underestimated them now saw someone they could never touch, someone who was out of their league. But was it just about moving on? No, it was far more than that. While others might think they were simply leaving things behind, they knew the truth. They were actively shaping the best version of themselves. It wasn't about walking away. It was about soaring higher, becoming someone whose success would become a quiet, powerful reminder to others of what they had missed. There were moments when they wondered, do they even care about my success? The answer was clear. Yes, they cared. People are drawn to growth, especially when it's someone they thought they knew. When they saw this person thriving without them, it was like a mirror being held up to what they had lost. Every success, every victory, made the gap wider. The person was out of reach now, and no matter how much they tried, they couldn't close the distance. And so, the person continued on their journey, with no need to brag or announce their triumphs. Success spoke for itself. They didn't need to prove anything. They let their growth do the talking. Their achievements were a story in themselves, a story of someone who had taken control of their life and turned it into something incredible that as they grew, they realized it wasn't just about the obvious things, career or wealth. It was about everything. The small victories in health, the courage to change, the mastery of new skills. Each piece was a declaration of power, a way of showing the world that they were living a life they could never touch. And so, as time passed, the person continued to evolve, each layer of achievement adding depth to their story. Their life became a mystery, a masterpiece that others could only watch from the outside, wondering how they had managed to create such an extraordinary existence. The challenge now was clear: to step into something meaningful, to pursue new goals, passions, and transformations, to let their success shine in a way that spoke louder than words ever could. They understood that while others had once taken them for granted, they were now building something so powerful and so out of reach, it would serve as a reminder to anyone who'd ever doubted them. And so, they embraced the journey, knowing that with each step, they were moving closer to a version of themselves that no one could ever take away. As they looked ahead, they spoke an affirmation to themselves. My success speaks louder than words. It became their mantra, their fuel, their driving force. With every new challenge they faced, they were reminded of this simple truth: the best was yet to come. Then came the moment when they crafted the ultimate achievement, the unreachable aura. This was the point where they developed a presence that felt tantalizingly out of reach. They became someone who was always there, but never fully available. They were visible, but untouchable. That IT was a subtle magic, the kind of energy that drew people in but kept them at arm's length. They became the person others wanted to get close to, but never could. And as they sensed the pull, they realized just how powerful this new version of themselves was. They couldn't touch it, couldn't grasp it, and that made them crave it even more. And so, this person continued to shine, growing more elusive and more captivating with each passing day, until they became a mystery, a force that could never be undone. You're not completely cutting them out of your life, but you're no longer an easy target. You're no longer the one who drops everything to respond right away, or the one always available at a moment's notice. Now, you're out there, living your life, pursuing your own goals, and creating a world that doesn't revolve around them. You're focused on becoming the best version of yourself. While they fade into the background, imagine this. They once knew they could reach you at any time with a simple message or call, but now you're elusive. Your responses are delayed, and when you do reply, it's on your terms. Your presence becomes rare, like a fleeting moment of brilliance that disappears just as quickly as it appears. That's the power of it. The more distant and unattainable you become, the more they will long for what they can't have. Human nature is wired to crave what's out of reach. And let's be real, that's exactly what happens when you become elusive. Some may wonder, isn't this just playing hard to get? No, it's not a game. It's about establishing your worth. It's about creating a life so rich with meaning that they can no longer walk in and out of it whenever they please. You're no longer bending over backward to meet their every whim. You've drawn a line in the sand, and that line is no longer something they can cross whenever they choose. You're the one who calls the shots now. That here's the beauty of this shift. The less available you are, the more valuable your presence becomes. When you stop being at everyone's beck and call, they'll begin to realize how much they've taken you for granted. Every moment spent with you will feel like a privilege, something precious, something they can't afford to take for granted anymore. That realization, that feeling of losing access to you, is what draws them in even deeper. They'll find themselves wondering if they've lost their place in your life, if they'll ever get close to you again. That uncertainty, it's magnetic. People chase what they can't have. By creating this unreachable aura, you signal that you have a life that doesn't pause for anyone. Your time, your energy, your attention, they're not freely available. Every moment spent with you becomes an opportunity, and they'll soon begin to value you like never before. Craving something rare and unattainable is a challenge for them, especially if they've always taken you for granted. Now, they'll realize just how much they've lost access to, and they'll do anything to get it back. As you step into this new, untouchable energy, remember, it's not about pretending or playing a game. It's about honoring your own space and setting a boundary that speaks volumes. You're not closing the door. You're simply making them work for your attention. Let them feel the distance and wonder if they'll ever truly have access to you again. Here's a powerful affirmation. I am valued beyond reach. Write it down, say it out loud, and remember, by building this aura, you're making them long for your presence, but keeping them from truly reaching you. And trust me, This journey has just begun. The most powerful strategies are yet to come now. We enter the next phase, the reconstructed persona. This is where you transform into the person they never expected. The one who's leveled up, evolved, and left the past far behind. You're embracing a new identity. Stronger, more magnetic, and impossible to ignore. Let this transformation speak louder than any words ever could. Imagine this. You're investing in yourself. Working on the parts of you that were once overlooked or neglected. Whether it's crushing your fitness goals, discovering new passions, advancing in your career, or adopting habits that elevate your life, this is about more than just looking good. It's about becoming someone new, inside and out. You're not just improving your appearance or skill set. You're recharging your entire energy. That you're stepping into the version of yourself who commands attention, who walks into a room with quiet confidence that makes everyone take notice. This is the upgraded you, the next level version they never saw coming. And here's where it gets really powerful. You're not doing any of this for approval or validation from anyone. The moment you realize your worth has always been yours to define, everything changes. This new version of you is focused, self-assured, and unstoppable. You're now actively pursuing growth in every area of your life, and that energy is magnetic. It draws people in. When you exceed people's expectations, it's like stepping into a whole new dimension of yourself, and trust me, they'll notice. You've become the person they once underestimated, and now you're surpassing everything they thought they knew about you. Why go through all this effort? Because there's nothing more electrifying than becoming the person they thought you'd never be. They may have written you off or doubted you, but now you're showing them someone completely different. Someone they can't quite figure out. This new persona isn't just a wake-up call. It's an intriguing mystery that they'll want to solve. Imagine them hearing about your transformation through mutual friends or catching glimpses of you out living your best life. Happier, more confident, and completely fulfilled. That's a tough pill for them to swallow. They'll realize they're no longer part of your journey. They're stuck watching you become someone they no longer recognize, and that sting, that feeling of loss, is exactly what you want them to experience. It's like watching a phoenix rise from the ashes, knowing they had the chance to be by your side through this transformation, but they missed it. Some might wonder, isn't this just about putting on a mask or faking it? Not at all. The reconstructed persona isn't about pretending to be someone you're not. It's about unlocking the most powerful parts of yourself that may have been suppressed or doubted. It's about shedding old layers, releasing the past, and stepping into a version of yourself that's both authentic and unstoppable. This isn't about putting on a front. It's about embracing your truth and letting it shine, leaving an impression that they'll never forget. Now, we move to the final emotional barrier, the ultimate boundary. This is where you set the most powerful line of all, one that not only defines who you are now, but clearly separates your past from your future. This boundary isn't just for them. It's for you. It's a line they can't cross, a force field that says you can look, but you can't touch. The door is closed, and they'll feel that closure every day from now on. This step isn't just a reaction. It's the result of everything you've done up to this point. They've seen you grow. They've felt your absence. They've watched as you transformed into someone completely out of their reach. And now, the final piece. You're no longer emotionally available. Think of it like an impenetrable wall, a boundary that doesn't break under pressure. They'll realize that the deepest parts of you, the raw vulnerabilities they once had access to, are now permanently sealed off. This isn't about holding grudges. It's about protecting your peace and your well-being. Picture them standing on the other side of this wall, trying to reconnect, but there's no bridge, no path back to you. The doors are shut, the windows locked. Every attempt they make to reach you is met with cold silence. They'll keep trying, hoping to catch a crack in the door, but it won't happen. That version of you is gone, and it's never coming back. You might wonder, why set such an impenetrable boundary? Because they had their chance. They chose to walk away, to let you slip through their fingers as though you were just another option. Now you're showing them that you're not optional. This boundary is a powerful reminder. Not just to them but to you, that you deserve respect, loyalty, and commitment. You've moved on. Beyond the need for anyone else to affirm your worth, you already know your value, and now you're untouchable. Think of it like a fortress you've built around your heart. A fortress that's strong, whole, and impenetrable. They can feel the walls closing in on them with every failed attempt to reach you. Every time they try to slip back into your world, they realize there's no place for them anymore. This final emotional barrier isn't just physical. It's psychological. It's a force they can sense in every part of their being. They'll understand that they no longer have access to your inner world, and that realization will haunt them far more than any angry words or accusations ever could. You might even expect them to try reaching out through mutual friends or leave you cryptic messages, testing the waters to see if you'll react. But each time, they'll find that you're no longer playing the same game. You're no longer responding the way they expect. You've moved on, and this barrier you put up isn't just a shield, it's a statement. You're no longer the person who would open the door just because they knocked. You're no longer waiting for their validation or approval. You're not even waiting for their apology. This boundary isn't about punishment. It's about self-respect. It's about standing firm in your power and saying, I won't allow anyone to disrespect me again. Let's be honest here. This final barrier will be the hardest for them to accept. They'll feel the distance, the empty space between you, and it will hit them like a ton of bricks. They'll wonder what it would take to get back inside, what they could do to break through that wall. But the truth is, nothing can. You've built this boundary with a level of strength they never saw coming, and they'll never be able to reclaim what they lost. The more they try, the more they'll realize that this is the final chapter. Once you've moved on, there's no going back. So as you set up this final emotional barrier, remember, this is your line in the sand, a promise to yourself that you will never compromise your worth again, no matter who comes knocking. This isn't about revenge or holding on to grudges. This is about reclaiming your power. It's a testament to your growth, your resilience, and your unshakable self-respect that let's lock in this final step with a powerful affirmation. I am unbreakable. Write it down. Say it with unwavering conviction, and understand that this boundary isn't just the end, it's a new beginning. You've reached the end of this chapter, and now you are fully in control. The power is entirely yours to we've reached the final step in this incredible journey, and if you followed along with each stage, you've not only reclaimed your power, but you've transformed that you're becoming someone impossible to ignore. But remember, this is just the start. What you've begun here is only a glimpse of what's to come. There's so much more in store, and we're creating a community of people dedicated to growth, success, and supporting each other at every stage. I truly appreciate you being here, investing in your own development, and embracing the strongest, most courageous version of yourself. You're not alone in this journey. We're all in it together. So, don't forget to subscribe, share your thoughts in the comments, and help spread the word. Let's continue to move forward, level up, and form a powerful network of individuals who lift and empower each other.